A to the K.
To the K.
To the K.
Hello, welcome to the A to the K Wrestling Show. As always, let's kick things off by sending it over to Road Dogg for A to the K's little known fact of the week.
Oh, you didn't know?
Beautiful. So Anthony, AEW
Proper
Revolution.
unique idea that, you know.
It is actually.
Oh, you didn't know play.
It's good
for
that.
our fun fact of the week. I like it.
It's good
Never
that we
seen it
did
done
that
before.
a long time ago. Yeah. We kid.
Sorry,
It's been,
I'm going to have to have a
just
drink.
being
It's very
salty.
salty. Yeah, very salty.
Yeah, it's being salty. But anyway, as we know, AEW Revolution is upon us. One of the big matches, of course, the dog collar match between CM Punk and MJF. There's been a lot of references to the very first dog collar match ever between Roddy Piper and Greg the Hammer Valentine. But Anthony, did you know both CM Punk... Oh, okay then, I'll skip that. No, CM Punk and MJF have actually already been in dog collar matches before. I shit you not. This is not their first rodeo. CM Punk's actually been in two in his Ring of Honor days. He won against Raven, and he was in a losing effort against the late Jimmy Rave. But more surprisingly, MJF has actually been in one before as well, with none other than All Ego himself, Ethan Page, in the well-known Alpha One Pro Wrestling, in which MJF lost. So.
Okay, so Punk's the only one who's won a dog collar match. That's interesting.
Exactly. So, will it be
on
one
the topic
each?
of dog collar
Or will it
matches,
be...
I think we can both thank Gigi Dolan for her tribute to the dog collar matches. So.
Woof. Yeah. So that.
Okay, mention it anyway.
So that was this week's little known fact of the week, and here's Road Dogg to say what he says.
Oh, you didn't know?
You did the thing.
I was expecting you to go all corporate this week, Cal. Like, and be all like, brought to you by For the Love of Wrestling, you know, and all that. But no, you didn't.
Yeah,
Which
it's
is
a very
nice.
good point, that actually.
But guys, For the Love of Wrestling, we're going to plug it at some point later in the show. But if you live in this country, being the UK, you know, maybe check it out.
Maybe check it out. We're not going to tell you what it is. Just go and check it out.
You'll find out when we do the plug.
Exactly.
This is the time for the plug.
Stop saying plug. So let's kick things off with This Week in Wrestling, of course. So let's talk about the very first one.
Favourite This Week in Wrestling.
Oh yeah. So I haven't put names against this, so I guess I'll start. Why not a professional?
Outlaws, Renegades.
So let's kick off with the WWE highlights this week. We're going to talk Alpha Academy versus the Street Profits. Now, if I had a hat on today, I would have bet it long ago, because if you would have told me that Alpha Academy and Street Profits would have a nice little kind of segments and back and forth that I'd actually be interested in, I would have been like, nah. But this was a really good match. I think, big fan of Alpha Academy of late. I'm not the biggest fan of Street Profits. I think they're, maybe a little bit one-trick pony-ish, to say the least.
My only issue with Street Profits, I think I felt like I was being told to like them.
Yeah.
These guys are great. You gotta love them. And I'm like, but I don't. I just felt overhyped, you know?
Yeah. I think they're just very much kind of, well, we've got our catchphrases and our red cups. That's all we need. And it's like, well...
I do feel like, honestly, with time served, like, I will appreciate them. And they'll be like a well-established, well-known tag team in WWE. But like right now, they're the new guys who are acting like they're not, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, Montez, he could be a future world champ. Let's be honest. People have said it before. He's got
the camera. What are you on about?
He's definitely got a bit of an it factor there. No offense to Dawkins, but he's going to be the breakout star. I think Dawkins is going to be Genetti'd when that happens. But
why are we at the barber shop, Montez?
I'd fucking love it. I would love it if they did that. But like just like the movie Barbershop, like just like a full on thing, like that would be great. But anyway,
WWE, if they bring out another sequel to Barbershop, they probably will seize the opportunity, because we like a bit of cross promotional work and sponsorships and all that bollocks. I don't know how we got here. How did we get
me
here?
neither. Who knows?
You said genetic, that's why.
That's
Did you know he killed a guy?
actually forgot about that, to be fair.
For the record, there's no proof to that.
No, it's never been proven. But yeah, Party Marty, as we found out last week. What a guy, what a ledge. But yeah, so enjoyed this one. And yeah, just get a thumbs up from me. A nice, very rare kind of tag team match that actually is decent, I guess, put on by WWE. So yeah,
that's where the bar's set. A good tag team match was had. But yeah, no, couldn't agree more. I've been a fan of that. I honestly feel like this feud has I want to say the makings. Maybe we could be done with it now. Even I don't know, but the makings of, I'll say, this is what we could have had with the Viking Raiders. I feel.
Yeah, and I
We didn't
notoriously
get that.
hated that.
Yeah, we didn't get that, but we could have. It was nice to see a good feud with two established tag teams, Carl. I just don't see it.
Imagine. Crazy.
Anyway, speaking of things you don't see ever, that's not really a good segue. But my next one, Carl, and this might be somewhat controversial. Not with you. You agree with everything I say. What it's about, isn't it? I kid. Edge's promo this week, Carl. And the reason it might be a bit controversial is because I could see some people hating this for the references made. Because, sometimes people don't like that sort of tease, especially because obviously he references AJ, he references Cody and Finn Balor. And I think it's the Cody one that might cause a bit of controversy. Because obviously no one really knows what Cody's doing. And the subtle hints and references, I actually really don't mind them at all. But I can see some people not liking it. Do you know what I mean? But I thought it was a solid promo, and fuck it, tease us, Edge.
Okay, I'll leave you two alone. But no,
Edge and Carl.
Oh God. Yeah. Don't really know where to go from that. Look, I think Edge is obviously he's a really good promo. It's nice that he's kind of going, well, I'm one of the best going. I need a WrestleMania match. Like, who's it going to be? Who's going to step up? Blah blah blah. You don't need to overproduce this whole thing, which is ironic because he's mentioning Cody.
But the right amount of produced, because what he's doing, and I'll be big enough to admit that what he's doing is he's doing the Goldberg and going, "You're next," but with a bit more production than just coming out and shouting. So for me, it needs a level of pomp and circumstance, if you will. So I appreciated the promo, because otherwise you just go on Goldberg with it.
This is true. You don't want to go full Goldberg. But no, I liked the little sort of references. Obviously, The Miz is another one who's been doing a little bit of Cody dropping in the stuff that he's been doing as well. But obviously, we now know where this went. But at the time, he was teasing a lot of different names. So yeah, I think either of the names that he teased would have been great Mania opponents. But join us next week when we talk about who that actually is, if you've not seen the show for some reason. But yeah, so agreed. Solid promo and definitely a highlight. And the other thing we're to talk about, Anthony, is another tag team match. What's going on?
What a week we've had.
And I don't even really like tag team wrestling all that much, but I loved it this week.
This is news to me. You don't like tag team wrestling?
I do, but I mean, it's not my favourite. Do you know what I'm saying?
I thought you were always a fan of the Edge and Christians and the Doodley Boys and all that.
The Doodley Boys, definitely. No, I did. Well, I mean, come on, don't put words in my mouth. I never said I hate tag team wrestling, Anthony. Don't start that.
You sat here saying you hate the Attitude Era. It's weird. I don't know.
What? Hang on a minute. How did we go from you and edging a second ago to me hating the Attitude Era?
Because The Rock and Stone Cold were a tag team at some point. The Rock and Mankind have been a tag team at some point. They're all from the Attitude Era. What you're subtly saying here is you hate the Attitude Era. What's going on?
I call your bluff on this. Rock and Austin have never been a tag team.
I don't know. You know what? I wavered on that. I feel like they might have, at least for a second.
We had Austin Triple H. So
that might have been what I was thinking of.
Close enough. But anyway, without stop putting words in my mouth. I'm not the biggest fan of tag team wrestling compared to other things. However, another really good tag team match. I think it was nice, obviously, that they're trying to give a bit of a backstory to this in terms of what they're going to do. And, I'm hoping it's a massive swerve. I still don't know if this is a swerve and we are going to get Kevin Owens versus Stone Cold by some miracle at Mania. I have no idea what this means for Rollins. So part of me is kind of like, maybe this is just it, and in which case I'm going to be a bit, but I like that there's...
It is unusual, to say the least. Like, if they go the direction of Austin, like you say, what's the plan? What is the plan? But
well, exactly.
What's the plan anyway? What's the plan for Mania?
Dude,
What's happening?
They don't know. Nobody's asking me. They don't know themselves.
Rematches. What are they doing?
It's right though. We've got ages to get there now. We've got like a full month to actually build things. But yeah.
Wait, Hogan's back? When did that happen?
Wouldn't surprise. I mean, when we talk about some of the news later, some of the people who might be coming back for a match at Mania will shock you. 9 out of 10 dentists hate this guy. But yeah. So yeah, another thumbs up from me. Kevin Owens, Randy Orton, the rest of them, the other guys, Riddle,
other guys,
all good shiz. Which is unfortunately is the only highlights that we have for WWE this week, Anthony. Because we're going to move swiftly into the Oh Shites. So you want to talk about this one?
Yeah, go on. So what can how can you make the Mysterios worse? That's right. I'm going to say, like, I know Ray. Ray's a legend. Well, I don't know Ray. Like, all right, yeah, Ray. We had a pint the other week. I know Ray as a wrestler. I know he's a legend. I know people love him. Not so much Dominic. No offense, Dominic. Like, you've got time. You're like, 15? It's all good. But I hate the combination of the Mysterios because it is just literally like, that's my boy. And I'm like, just fucking have a feud already. That's all I want you to do. Right? But how can you make it worse, Carl? Well, I'll tell you how you can make it worse. You can include The Miz and Logan Paul. Why the fuck not?
Yeah, definitely not loving this, even at all.
I'm willing to admit this might be a generational thing. Because although Logan Paul is of our generation, his fan base is not. And I don't get it, right? He's a YouTube guy, a YouTube sensation. Yeah. So it's not something I ever really watch or do watch. So I kind of don't get it, So maybe some of it's lost on me because of that. But I just, why Logan Paul? Like, no offense to him, but, and you know what? It's funny because he clearly has a personality. Like, because I have seen some of the stuff, But for some reason, he just seems to be, like, really awkward in WWE. He did it last time he was in WWE. He felt really awkward. I don't know if you get that same vibe.
Oh, massively, yeah. I think when it comes to this kind of stuff, especially around like the fight game, obviously his brother's a lot more suited to the biz than Logan is. Jake Paul's is just a natural cunt, isn't he? Let's be honest. So
well, honestly, like you kind of got to admire him because like he's so unlikable that people buy tickets just hoping to see him get his head punched off. Well, it's not happened yet. He knows what he's doing.
Exactly. I was fuming when Tommy Fury pulled out. I was like, finally, maybe he's going to actually lose this one. But then, no, just beats Woodley again.
That's what it's all about. Making money. People are just waiting to see him topple, and it's going to have to be a big fucking match when he does. And well, I truly believe they're probably rigged, but I don't care.
Oh yeah. Yeah, exactly. But I mean, it's weird because obviously Logan has been in the boxing world himself, but obviously with like exhibition match with Mayweather and stuff like that, for example. So
and that time he fought KSI.
Well, yeah, that didn't end well for him, did it? Yeah. But yeah, I think ultimately my thoughts on this whole thing is The Miz just wants a bit of what The Rock and John Cena have had. He just wants to be famous, man. He was there with Bad Bunny last year. Now he's here with Logan Paul. He's on Dancing with the Stars. He just wants to be a celebrity, bless him. So he's just like, I'll fight celebrities.
Because he started out wanting to be a celebrity, didn't he? Then he got into the world of wrestling, and now he's trying to go back to his roots.
Yeah.
But sadly, and I mean no offense to The Miz, he's an absolute legend. But I just can't ever see him being a Hollywood guy.
No, me neither. He doesn't need to be. Like, he doesn't even need to be wrestling. If I was The Miz, I would literally just stop what I'm doing, just go home, lock myself in the bedroom, and be sad.
Why has he only got 2 kids? I don't understand.
That's what I want to know. Yeah.
You're like the fucking Von Trapps by now. That's what you're thinking.
Small army. But no. Yeah, I think Yeah, not digging it. Not digging this whole thing at all. Don't get me wrong. I don't even hate celebrity involvement. I think it's good that it's WrestleMania. At the end of the day, it's always been this way, and I've nothing against it. I've nothing against Logan Paul either. He seems like a good fit, and he's going to get eyeballs on it. But this is not a match I'm going to be particularly interested in. And I think, ironically, and again, I don't want to shit on the dude because, as you said, he's like 15. But Dominic's the weak link in this, and I don't get why this is the match. I would have much rather seen, Miz versus Logan Paul, if I'm honest. And just cut the Mysterios out of it altogether, because I just don't understand what they're doing in it. I know that Logan's not going to be able to do much, which is why it's safer to put him in a tag team match. But
yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Tag team involvement. It's like this when they did the same with Bad Bunny. It makes sense because Bad Bunny is actually surprisingly impressive in the ring, but it makes sense that you put him with people because he is new to the ring. It's the same way that Dominic is always with his dad because he can't wrestle. That's right. Throwing shade. Throwing shade everywhere.
We need to get some special sound effects on the show. It's probably the fucking
Wait, I would be like a fucking classic radio DJ with the annoying soundboard if you did that.
This is a very good point. We will not get sounds on the show because we'll never fucking get a word in it, Trees.
Honestly, it'd just be shit sound effects as well. It'd be like they come up in the news and you just have the news as a soundbite. I just press it all the time. I think it'd annoy you more than anyone.
I think it would. But yeah, so I agree. This was definitely an Oh Shite. Speaking of Oh Shites, we're going to move on to the next one. Why is this still happening? It's not in the feud anymore. So we had Rhea Ripley versus Nikki Ash, right? Or ASH, because that's easy to say.
It just rolls off the tongue much better than Cross ever did.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I don't get what we're doing with this now. So this was essentially a squash match. And I just don't think we need it. The feud is dead and buried. Rhea Ripley's already won this feud. Put them together again for no reason and basically just squash Nikki when, does she need another loss at this point? Unfortunately, I think she's gone, after Mania.
I think sadly Rhea Ripley is currently the Braun Strowman of the women's division. They're booking her as a monster and they have absolutely no plan for her. So they'll just have her in random squash matches. And it's sad that Nikki is a random squash match to her, but that's pretty much how they've booked this. And it's the same thing they were doing with Braun for ages. He'd come out, he'd squash some people. Sometimes he'd squash two people at the same time. And then eventually they were like, well, Roman's not well, so we'll give him a world title. Fuck it. Maybe that's what they're gonna, maybe just hang around for a while until they decide to put in the title scene. I don't know, but
yeah. The thing that is confusing me is they've started to build it back up. They did it just before the Chamber. Obviously, they had the gauntlet match thing where basically Rhea Ripley beat everybody and then finally managed to lose to Bianca Belair in the last one. So they're already building it back up again. But why? Who's she fighting at Mania? Anybody, or are they just?
This is the thing. Are we playing a stupidly long game and Rhea could be a good opponent for Bianca down the line? But then we have to go all the way past Mania for that and then start the feud. Assuming there's not going to be 700 rematches with Becky. I don't know. Yeah. I feel like she is in that level. She could easily be a good opponent for Bianca when the time comes. But right now we have to have squash matches. Don't know. Just feels pointless.
Indeed. So yeah. Next one.
This is a hard pill to swallow, this next one, Carl, because I think we've both been rooting for him since he came on the main roster. So my next one is sadly it's Damian Priest, and it's the fact that the fans are starting to turn him, or it certainly feels like it's palpable, isn't it? You can feel it, and let's face it, we've been complaining about the booking of him over the last. I keep saying weeks. It's probably been months now at this point with the whole Damian side, all that shit. And it is just shit booking, shit story. Not even storytelling, because what is the story other than I'm a bad guy, except sometimes I'm not. But you know what? He wants a world champion caliber opponent, Carl.
Ooh,
what he wants.
Who could it be?
Even though he's not himself a world champion, so what's that about? Or are we meant to count the US title as it? No, you can't. How could you do that? It makes no sense. I was gonna say it's not like the IC title where you can go. I don't know. They're both kind of up there, but you can't really call either of them world titles, can you? So, yeah. Anyway, so what we got? Finn Balor.
Of course we do.
And I know you have some opinions on Phil Balor. Phil Balor. Oh, Phil Balor. I know you have some opinions on Finn Balor. I would argue that there was a time he could be seen as a world champion caliber opponent, but I mean, really, come out quickly, won the Universal title, got injured, lost it, never got back to it ever again. Not exactly the biggest world title run in the world.
No. There was a time when Finn was obviously, he was proper over, wasn't he? And even before that in NXT, I was really big on him. But yeah, he's just been nothing. And obviously he comes out and basically the crowd went mild. Unfortunately, it was just like
what I hate about this is that they're trying to parallel a shit gimmick, aren't they? They're going, well, Priest has like two sides to him. Who else has got that duality thing going on? It's like, for fuck's sake. And yeah. I feel like that's the reason we've rolled Finn out. And for those of you who've already seen Raw, and yes, I know that when we put our show out, there's already been another Raw. Fuck it, live with it. You'll know what's happened. I won't spoil it here, but you might be like, oh, they haven't brought the Demon out. If you honestly think there's not going to be a rematch, you're sadly mistaken.
Yeah, wouldn't surprise me if that's the WrestleMania thing or something now. But
the Demon versus the Damien.
The battle of the demons. Yeah.
But yeah, underwhelmed is probably the word. I think we used it a few times last week, and damn sure we're using it this week. We're underwhelmed.
We are.
Never just be whelmed, Carl.
With WWE, no. But yeah, it's a shame because obviously Damian Priest felt like kind of a fresh new babyface that people could actually get behind, and that's died a death now. And let's be honest, they've ruined him, unfortunately. So we'll see. Maybe if they do turn him fully heel, then he can get a bit of something back. But yeah, just a shame all round.
Indeed.
So the next one I want to talk about, I'm not going to go over this too much, but the 24/7 title, I hate it. I hate the fact it's on my TV screen every week. Hate the stupid little segments. This week, right, again, load of shite. Dana comes out with Reggie, and Reggie's like, oh, well, we're just friends, and I'm sorry, and, I still like you and all that, and then, so he does all that, and then Reggie actually goes, you know what, you can win it back, and lies down, and then Dana lies on him to cover him, and he keeps kicking out, and it's like, all right then, are you just wanting her to just lie on you then? Are you just being a big perv? And then the next minute she kisses him and pins him with a kiss to win back the 24/7 title.
I'd love to know which writer wants to keep putting married or engaged women in storylines where they have to kiss random blokes.
It would not surprise me if it was Vince, the dirty bastard.
I feel like this is the same writer who was writing for Lana at this point.
You do realise, I'm guessing people know this now from the Johnny Knoxville link, but Vince McMahon actually wrote Dirty Grandpa. You realise this?
I mean, that makes a lot of sense. It's basically Vince, isn't it?
Well, yeah, it
was almost autobiographical.
Well, we heard about the Vince documentary that was going to come to Netflix, and effectively...
Dirty Grandpa's been released. That makes a lot of fucking sense.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow. Never noticed that, but that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, you make a good point. I don't know why they insist on doing this, but I will always say there is a place for non-wrestling related entertainment type things to happen on a wrestling show. That's fine. This isn't even entertaining. I don't know what this is. I don't know why it's here. Who is it for? That's what I don't understand. Who is it for? Is it literally just the bathroom break?
Or there's one weirdo that they're writing for. It's like, what do you want to see this week? I want to see them kiss. Like, well, okay then. We'll write that for you.
Yeah.
Vince. That's right, I went back to that.
Must be. So yeah, so I hate it. So I just had to kind of...
No, that's fair. My next one, Carl, and it feels almost like I'm telling you, hey, Carl, did you know water's wet? But it needs to be mentioned. Ronda Rousey is just shit on the mic. She's not a talker, and sadly, they kind of make her talk. And why?
I have no idea.
I'd say play to her strengths, but if I'm honest, she's not even that good in the ring. I don't want to be totally mean. She had a great career in the UFC. She's definitely a badass. They could book her that way. But until she stops doing them stupid little punches, I'm not going to be happy. I don't mind the rest. I don't mind the arm bars and stuff like that. The fucking little punches do me.
You mean the Shane McMahon punch?
Yeah.
But Right. The thing is, I'm just so disappointed by this return. Right. When Rousey made her debut originally, she was fucking brilliant. She had one of the best matches on that WrestleMania card.
Look at that! Like she already put in iconic moments. Everyone remembers when she lifted Triple H.
Exactly. Right.
Everyone remembers that
But
moment.
the thing is, do you know what the difference is, Anthony? Is back then she wanted to be there. She just doesn't fucking want to be here. It's so annoying. I get she's come back for a payday and stuff like that, and that's cool. But fucking hell, phone it in, girl. You know, do something. You're just there, basically just going, well, I just don't want to be here. So, okay, I suppose I better high five some fans because last time I got told off. It's like, my God, woman. What a waste.
Oh,
What a
no,
waste.
I agree, and it's like I don't know if it's like because she was probably always going to be a little bit awkward on the mic because it's not part of the forte, is it? So she's not come from a background where talking is important, but she's in no way selling this story or this feud. So
no, not at all.
if
And
she's
it's like,
not invested, I think that's the thing, like you said about the enthusiasm. If she's not invested, why would we be?
no, but it's like what is the story she's trying to tell? She comes out there and it's just like, well, my mum had a kid. I'm a kid, and she had the kid young and still did other stuff.
Damn it,
and
she's right.
I'm going to do that too. Okay.
Yeah. That's because there's no real motivation for the whole match, is there really?
Well, yeah. I mean, to be
They
fair,
can't talk on each other because there's not a great deal of motivation there anyway. It's
well,
shit
exactly.
that's already been settled before.
Yeah, it should literally should just be, look, I won the Royal Rumble. I've come back. I want another belt. I'm going to beat you up. That's it. That is the story. I don't get why there needs to be all these like talking segments and promos and shit. And now it's like, well, let's insert Sonya Deville. I still maintain, right, and I know it's been this way for a while, right, but it never. Maybe just because there's so much television now, it's become the problem. But the Royal Rumble happens way too far away from WrestleMania. It is.
You've mentioned that
do
times.
it.
It's weird. It's the minute they had a pay-per-view in between the Rumble and Mania, it was weird because it's almost like you get a title shot after everyone else if you win the Rumble.
Yeah.
It just makes fucking no sense at that point.
Exactly. I don't get it. Like back in the day, like in the old school times when it was like Rumble then Mania, cool, because obviously there was less. It wasn't a weekly thing where everybody was on TV all the time and having to fill the promos and stuff. But my God, it's so laboured now to the point where it's too long, and then you have to start all these little mini feuds in between. It's stupid. It is really bad.
Like what's going to annoy me with Mania, and this is speculative, obviously, as we don't know the full card yet, is the fact that like I haven't seen any of the mid-card titles on a pay-per-view in months, literal months. I can't remember the last time I saw any of them defended on. Maybe we got a pre-show, but certainly not on a main pay-per-view for a long time. And because we've got 2 nights of Mania, because they insist on having 2 nights of Mania, we're definitely going to get those matches. That's what we're setting Balor and fucking Priest up for. It's like no one's give a shit about the US title in months.
No, exactly, and obviously, Shinsuke has just held that Intercontinental title for ages because we forgot about it. I don't know. Let's put it on Sammy so we can have a match with Knoxville at Mania for the Intercontinental title. Okay.
Yeah, and then let's put it on Knoxville because that worked well for WCW when they put a title on a celebrity.
Exactly.
Really well for them.
The thing is, as well, no offense to Johnny Knoxville because I think he's awesome. I really like the guy, but like this Jackass Forever publicity thing, like the film's out now. How long are you going to keep riding that wave? If they put that title on him, where's he going to be showing it off? All the media's done for the movie.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
yeah,
I don't get it. But whatever. So the next one to talk about. I love me some Drew McIntyre. People know this. Love the guy. Not loving this at all. Not loving. Why do we need to get Drew versus Madcap again? We just had it at the Chamber. Is this really going to be the big build towards Corbin at Mania?
It was a tad awkward, mate, because Madcap doesn't remember having a match with Drew, and they don't want to tell him why he doesn't remember that, so they've just had to go with it.
Yeah, the match was actually bumped from the Chamber. We've actually just put it on SmackDown this week. Oh, okay. But yeah, I hate the whole thing. I feel so sorry for him. This guy literally carried the bloody company in the COVID era as the champion. Did a really good job until they just absolutely ruined him. And now the fans are back, and he's in a position and he's going to find it really hard to recover from. So yeah, I hate that he's stuck in here because he deserves so much better. But why do we need this match again? Why is Corbin the match for McIntyre at Mania? It's baffling.
What is the end game with I can't even, I'm not calling him Madcap. What's the end game with Riddick?
I have no idea.
What is the end game? Like, I only remember him as the guy from Raw Underground. Like, are they trying to give him a push because they've made him a lot worse, and that's saying something?
I don't know. I think a lot of people who just don't really have a character or a gimmick, they kind of put them in these weird over the top things. Where like it's meant to be like a comedy gimmick, but it's just that he's not funny. So,
but because the comedy isn't even there, it's like that's not how people dress. It's like, yeah, like what's funny exactly?
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway,
so yeah, didn't need to see this again.
No, we did not. Can't wait for the rematch at Mania though. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be a 2-on-1 against Drew by the time we get to Mania because you can't have Madcap in it.
Wouldn't surprise me.
The last one, Carl, and I think this is a fair one. Brock and Roman, and I want to precursor this by saying I'm hyped for this match. I want to see this match. It's been a long time coming. However, this week's segment, I think it was a bit fucking shit. Like in terms of how it was, what's the word? How it was plotted out, I suppose, because we had like 2 commercial breaks during this segment. It didn't really do anything, and how often do I moan about your tropes in wrestling all the time? But again, just more standard formulaic bullshit. So no, didn't do it for me this week. But I am hyped for the match, so I don't want to seem like I'm being all negative about Brock versus Roman. It was just this segment's fucking pointless, and I keep saying this, and I'll say it again. They don't have to be on TV every week just because there's a match coming up.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be like that.
And it's like even if you want them on TV every week, cool. Just let them do like a little backstage promo. He doesn't have to come out and kick off the show or end the show just because he's that. Like, why?
Or even, here's a wild idea: have a fucking match. Like, why can't Roman fight anyone if he's got a match planned?
Yeah,
I'm going to fight Brock at Mania, so I can't have any other matches ever. When was that a thing?
Well, exactly. Even you could do loads of this. You could put the fucking Usos against Brock or something and use it as like he's trying to weaken him or whatever, and Heyman's the one pulling the strings and things like.
But honestly, you could literally just have like Roman or Brock in a match unrelated to their feud.
Yeah.
Because it just proves that they're badass in the ring. It does no harm at all.
Well, exactly.
And it gives maybe a lower or mid-carder the opportunity to look good against the main event guy. Not too good, obviously, but...
Yeah, Ricochet, it's your time to shine again, baby. You're fighting Brock. No. So, yeah, I agree. It's just a very long, very monotonous segment with no end game that didn't really push anything on at all. And yeah, as you said, go to commercial break twice in the segments really kind of zapped you out of the mood. But
I think that's the thing. Yeah, it takes you out of the moment, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I was proper in this moment as well, so I was disappointed.
So yeah, that was WWE this week. Anthony, scores on the doors. I'm going to be pretty brutal this week. I'm going in with a 0.5.
That is pretty damn brutal, you know.
Literally, we had 3 highlights, one of which was a promo, which was all right, and the other 2 were tag team matches, which were fine, but they did. Yeah, that's kind of it. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Like the rest of the show, like SmackDown's been garbage for a couple of weeks now. Raw has actually been the better show, but even this week it was just meh. So yeah, 0.5, not good.
I'm probably going to give it a 1.
You do that then.
It was not good, but you know it was okay.
Bad.
It wasn't even
WWE.
middle of the road, Carl. 1 is still bad. I just feel like I can't go the lowest to 0.5.
Well, I can.
You know, they at least put on a show. Like,
it was on the television.
Yeah, some TV time this week. So, and because of that, it's got to at least get more than 0.5.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, there was a moment there where like I was just watching static that was more entertaining for a bit, but then I suppose it probably just marginally beat that, which is why it gets a 0.5. So on to AEW. Talking highlights, we're talking that MJF promo. I'm so interested to get your thoughts on this. This was so out of character for MJF. On the one hand, I fucking loved it. On the other hand, I kind of hated it at the same time, right? So my stance on this, obviously it's a highlight. It definitely the good outweighed the bad. When I say there was elements I hated, I think it's because I just love that MJF is an old school, absolute horrible bastard of a heel, right? That you just love to hate him, right? And then he comes out, and I'm sure this is going somewhere, right? I don't think he's actually had a change of heart or anything like that, but he comes out and he's almost quite sad and somber and tells a story about when he was growing up and getting bullied and how that time it was just a Friday for CM Punk. He was actually bullied and all that kind of stuff, and Punk comes out towards the end. He's like, "Is it true?" And he's like, "Yeah," and there's like a tear on his eye and stuff, and yeah, like it was really good, and I really enjoyed it. But at the same time, I'm sad that we got to see that side of MJF because I just love to hate the guy. You know what I'm saying? But
I know, yeah.
What were your thoughts on it as a segment?
I think you're right in that sense. Like it was strange, but not in like a bad way. Like you say, I think he did really well, as he always typically does on the mic. But yeah, like I wasn't expecting that.
No.
I wasn't expecting emotions.
Exactly.
Where do these feelings come from?
Like,
so yeah, I don't know. I don't know how. I still don't know how I feel about it.
Well, the thing is, what annoys me even more is I don't know where they're going with it. Like, is this a ruse to basically, MJF's trying to make or give Punk the illusion that he's, got a bit of a weakness or whatever, so that he can actually go, only joking, and like, rub it back in Punk's face, or are they going to set up like an MJF face turn, which I don't want to see. Who wants to see that?
What's even more annoying, Carl? He'll have a face turn before we meet him.
Exactly.
Which means he'll probably be a nice fucking guy.
And we've still got to do the fucking Wardlow thing. Like, that's got to happen still. And that can't happen if he's a face, so it can't go that way.
True. It'd be classic MJF, though, if it was like a route. Okay, how many people would get pissed off because they bought into the emotion of it?
Exactly.
If he was just fucking with Punk. So, in all fairness, that could work really well for MJF as a heel. Of course, you'd never trust the fucker again. He'll never be able to turn face because no one will believe it. But still.
Well, exactly. So yeah, thoroughly enjoyed it, but very, very odd to see that side of MJF, and I hope he gets back to his horrible little man self soon.
Love it. Next highlight for me, Carl, is do we still call him Death Triangle? The Rock Band Death Triangle, or do we just call him Pac and Penta now? Because obviously it's not the faction as a whole. Anyway, I don't know. But we had Pac and Penta going up against the House of Black. And you know what? Yeah, fair enough. I didn't really know how to feel about the House of Black. I've been quietly impressed with Malachi since he's turning AEW. Wasn't never a big fan of WWE, as you well know. So to see this tag match and see it executed as well as it was, I was very impressed. I mean, I've always been impressed with Pac and Penta anyway. I think, the whole Death Triangle thing probably never got the legs it deserves. Obviously, with the issues with COVID and Pac being stuck out of the country and stuff like that for a time. But I think that's what happened, wasn't it? That's why he was away.
It was indeed. Yeah.
So so it's, I mean, I'm really happy to see Pac back, that bastard. But on top of that, it's great to see them getting some sort of not that they've not had a lot of time, but I don't know. Totally enjoyed tag match. Great to see them all getting some time, and they all look fucking great.
Yeah, definitely. It was interesting to see like Penta's kind of slightly new gimmick as well. I think I can't remember what he called himself, Penta Oscura or something, but it's basically Penta Dark, isn't it? Yeah,
it's a slight change in name as well as, like you say, gimmick, I suppose.
Yeah, I think he's I think it was something he did in Lucha Underground or something, which was quite over. But it's essentially like just a darker version of himself. So it was interesting. Interesting time to bring that out when he's going up against the House of Black, who are already quite dark themselves. But what
are you expecting? What are you thinking?
I don't know. Planting the seeds, maybe that maybe Penta could be tempted, but who knows when Rey Fenix is going to be back? Obviously, so unsure. But yeah, I agree with you. Completely awesome match, which leads me swiftly onto the next highlights, which happened after the match, which was Buddy Matthews, Anthony. Buddy Matthews is all elite. He joins. Well, I believe he's joined House of Black. Seems like that's where they're going, obviously. But we kind of we kind of talked about it last week, didn't we? With the knock on the thing, we kind of thought, is it going to be, a little throwback to when that happened on Raw kind of thing? And it looks like that might be the case. So yeah, Buddy Matthews, by all accounts, I think we've been saying, he's definitely got the look, he's got the capability. Whether or not you can find the kind of right gimmick and the right fit. So joining a stable like House of Black would be an awesome thing and could really elevate him. So remains to be seen.
Yeah. Do you think he is the buddy? That's the question.
I'm not your buddy, guy.
Guy, friend.
So
yeah, no, I'm intrigued. Like, I can't say that I was like massively hyped about Buddy rocking up, but I'm intrigued. I think he's got bags of potential that he always did in WWE as well. So I can't wait to see what they do. But like, biggest debut ever? Not necessarily. Still, yeah, definitely a highlight. I agree with you there, Carl.
Indeed.
Yeah. Next one, Carl. Got to go in the highlights column. I say, even if we're still a little bit pissed off with the whole lack of conclusion, really, with the Inner Circle. Jericho and Kingston, the promos this week. I think solid bit of work. Again, like I don't know how you feel about Jericho lately, but I feel like it's been a tad directionless as of late.
Yeah,
I don't want to be too negative about a highlight, but because here's hoping. But yeah, I don't know. Like, I'm still a little bit up and down, but I've got to call it a highlight this week. I think they both did a crack job.
Yeah, I think the pair of these, when they got the microphone, are a different level, aren't they? Let's be honest. Both fantastic promos. And some people didn't like the fact that they brought up WWE and things like that, and that this isn't sports entertainment, and why don't you go over to Stamford, just round the corner, blah blah blah.
It still annoys me that people like there's like this new rule that you can't mention other promotions. It still pisses me off that
yeah.
I'm more than happy for them. I'm more than happy for WWE to mention them as well. It's not a problem. Like, if it feeds into, if you're doing it for the sake of doing it, that's one thing. But if it feeds into what you're talking about, then that's not a problem. Don't like they're going out of their way to bring them up.
No, exactly. But yeah, I'm a big fan of it. I think it does feel a little bit samey. I think CM Punk had pretty much the same storyline with Kingston, where it's like, you've got potential, but you're a fat lazy bastard who doesn't do it, basically.
You don't respect me, yeah.
Exactly. So in terms of why there's so much kind of hatred there and all that kind of thing, but you can't argue that this as a segment was really good, and some really solid promo work from the pair of them. So agreed, highlight.
Given the typical heat that Jericho gets, I want to be clear that when Carl mentioned about the fat lazy bastard, he wasn't. I kid.
Have you heard all the?
I've never felt that way. I just know that the internet kind of ripped him.
Did you hear the wild speculation on like Twitter and the like of people thinking he had ab implants?
Really?
Because obviously he's lost a bit of weight now and he's looking a bit ripped. People are like, no, he's just had he's had ab implants.
So, I don't realise the amount of time he's had to work out. You don't realise that.
Yeah, exactly. So I thought that was hilarious.
Man who knows how to build the muscle and how to cut couldn't possibly have done that by himself. Definitely.
Exactly. So, next highlight to talk about Bryan Danielson taking on Daniel Garcia. Really solid match, I think. Every time Danielson gets in the ring, we know it's going to be a fun show for all. Again, really enjoyed the aftermath of it as well. So Moxley coming out to make the save when 2.0 started teaming up on Danielson as well. And obviously, Danielson accepts the match for Revolution. So we are going to get to see the two go at it. In terms of where this is going to go, are they going to end up teaming up? Is it going to lead to something else? Who knows? But I'm hyped to see this match. And it's interesting. It's like two former WWE guys going up against each other. But I don't really recall seeing this many times in WWE.
I don't. I'm excited for it, but like you say, they may have had a match. Honestly,
I think I saw somewhere
that it wouldn't have been big enough for us to remember. That's the weird thing.
I think I saw somewhere something about Moxley's never been able to beat Danielson or something in WWE. So I'm guessing they maybe had a couple of matches, but yeah, it's weird that we don't remember them. But I guess this time it feels like a big match. Maybe previously it was on a throwaway match on Raw or something like that, or something. But yeah, I'm pumped for this one. I'm pumped to see where it goes in terms of them as well. Because either direction it does go, it's going to be an interesting one. So yeah, can't wait to be surprised and entertained.
Indeed. Next one, Carl. And again, I know you love this guy, so I'm sure you're going to agree with me on this. Sammy going up against Andrade. Definitely a highlight. And they were both great in this. But it's nice to see how much Sammy's... I'm not saying he didn't know what he was doing in the ring. He's been in around the business for a while. But it's nice to see Sammy's really coming into his own as well. Like, it's a lot cleaner than it ever was as wrestling now.
Mm-hmm.
Like, long gone are the days when he would throw a chair at someone's head and accidentally cut them open. You know? So I'm not saying like Sammy was the major highlight, and I think they both brought it, and it was a really good match. But props to Sammy, because I think he's definitely putting the work in there in terms of his in-ring psychology, if you will.
Yeah, definitely. He's as you said, getting better and better every week. You can see a massive improvement from. It's mad to look at him now as like a multi-time. Is he a multi-time TNT champion? He won it back, didn't he? So technically, so multi-time TNT champion
belts, everything.
Versus when we first saw him in AEW in the little panda suit and shit when he rocked up. So he's definitely definitely come a long way. But yeah, I was shocked that. I say shocked. I wasn't, but at the same time, I'm surprised that Andrade just put him over super clean. Like, people have been a bit, outspoken about Andrade in AEW, saying he's not being treated any better than he was in WWE and things like that. And to be fair, he's not won that much in AEW, so it's an interesting one that they just let Sammy go over him clean like that.
Yeah, although I would argue you could probably remember him having more matches here than in WWE. I don't know if that was the case with NXT, but certainly on his main roster run, he didn't seem to be involved in a lot of promos and a lot of fucking around, but not a lot of matches, A
lot of fucking around.
No, do you know what I mean? Like that, and it's not even a bad thing. Like we mentioned it before about Selena, and her faction at the time, where they were putting in most of the work for Raw during the pandemic, and it's a shame really what happened. But there wasn't a great deal of in-ring stuff with that you really remember. Do you know what I mean? So I don't know. He's still got time in AEW, hasn't he, to really show you what he's got. But
oh yeah, I don't think it's like, oh, that's it, he's been buried now, as people like to say. I just
people think AEW like, no, the grass isn't always greener, is it? It's like he's literally just got there.
Well, exactly. Yeah, I definitely think there's big things to come from him still, but I don't think he's anywhere near to the start of reaching them heights at the moment. Like, not a big fan of this AHFO stuff or the thing he's got going with Darby.
I'm just waiting for Chavo to come back and manage him. That's going to help.
We'll get onto that, won't we? So yeah, the next one, obviously, I've got to say it every time I see the guy. Hook. They sent Hook. Happy they sent Hook. Look like a badass.
Carl is the biggest hooker among them.
I am a fucking massive hooker. No, to be fair, this it kind of. I'd say it's different. It wasn't really that different, but he didn't have a match this time where he battered somebody. He just came out on the stage and battered multiple people. So, I just think it's great. I just think he's awesome. And yeah, I'm a big fan of him.
We know.
I know. So he'll always get a highlight to it whenever I see him. If he keeps doing this.
It's a meme.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So, yeah, Hook is good.
Hook is good. Praise be the Hook. You sound like a cult leader, man. Anyway, the only Oh Shites of the week, Carl, and I think we can all agree, and this is a shame, because I've actually praised praised AEW in the past.
Right, JR.
The execution of multiple participants in a match. And you know what? There was a lot of good teams involved in this tag team battle royal, Carl, which is me, Oh Shite for the week. And this might be a personal thing, but the fact that they give it to Fish and the one who sulks all the time, like, really, really,
the incredible sulk.
Incredible sulk, love it.
Yeah,
That's his new name.
Listen here, Sulkamaniacs. I actually agree with you. I know that you you hate his face more than most.
You
Mr.
can't remember
O'Reilly.
his name, can you?
No, Mr. Kyle O'Reilly.
Because the thing is, right? He's meant to be a wrestler, right? He's meant to be there, and people are like, oh, he's so great. He's got such potential, and we could see him win titles. And he looks like a kid whose mum has just took his Nintendo Wii off him, right? And he's not happy about it. It's not intimidating in the slightest. And I'm not saying that like in an aggressive way. He could probably kick my ass. That's fine. I'm fine with that. I'm willing to admit that. But the fact is, it doesn't look intimidating. It looks fucking stupid. Stop sulking.
Can you imagine getting your ass kicked by that stroppy looking motherfucker? But no, I think we're not as big as fans. Let's be honest. And I'm not a massive fan of Fish either.
Honestly,
so.
like I know that they're just catering to the fan base who are like undisputed, and I wasn't really that big on them either. You know. So
yeah,
it's all kind of lost on me, if I'm honest. And I'm willing to admit that this is probably a bigger deal for other people, but not for me.
No, I agree. I think the amount of tag teams that they had in that Battle Royal, surely they could have, someone else could have won that, and we could have had something else, going into this triple threat thing. I actually really fear for Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus. I think their reign is very short lived, and it's going to be a shame if it goes to these. Like, I'd love it to go to like FTR or someone. Like, where are they?
I think FTR deserve it. Like they put the time in. They could do with. I know they have had the titles once, haven't they? But they could do with like a solid title run now to prove the dominance as heels. But we're probably not going to get that.
No. So yeah, that was AEW this week. Anthony, scores on the doors. I am gonna give it a 3. I was toying between a 2.5 and a 3 this week, and I think what pushed me over to the 3 was just the quality of Sammy and Andrade. So Rampage for the last couple of weeks now hasn't been anywhere near as good as it was. Like, we were saying, it was like the single best hour of professional wrestling on television. I don't think it's been like that for.
The fact it was only an hour because that was keeping it tight, and they had to make sure it was solid. And sadly, you're quite right. It's not been anywhere near as solid.
You've tried to like fit a lot, like maybe too much into it now, and I think some of the segments, like Mark Henry's interview segments and stuff, just feel a bit like
unnecessary.
Overdone. Yeah, it's just like, oh well, it has to be on there because it's on there every week. So there's parts of that which I'm a bit like meh, but I genuinely think that was a really strong Rampage match. And yeah, rest Dynamite and stuff was good as well. So it just scrapes a 3, I think, this week. I was close, 2.5 to 3, but yeah, 3 for me.
I've got to agree with you, in all honesty. Wasn't the best we've ever seen of AEW, but certainly meriting a 3. A good solid week. Quite clearly only one Oh Shite from us, but I think the number of highlights could have been higher. So yeah, I think a 3 is fair.
And I think as well, it did a decent enough job of starting to build stuff towards Revolution as well, which, obviously it's not the go-home show, but they already started to kind of cement a couple of things. Show. So that was Anthony this week in wrestling. Didn't get time to watch anything else this week.
It was just no time.
I'm sure there was other cool shit that happened, but we didn't see it. So if there was, let us know what we missed out on over this last week.
You all let us know.
I know, yeah. Why don't you let us know? Come on. But yeah, so as Anthony said at the start of the show, we are, of course, excited for the Love of Wrestling, Europe's largest wrestling convention, coming to Liverpool, UK, this April. And here is some lovely words from the guys who organised the event on what you can expect to see. So,
can't remember who's in the jingle, can you?
Nope. So check it out.
For Love of Wrestling, Europe's largest wrestling convention, returns to the Exhibition Centre in Liverpool on the 23rd and 24th of April. Guests this year include Diva of the Decade, Trish Stratus, the Wrestling God, JBL, the Dudley Boys, Torrie Wilson, and just announced MJF from AEW. We will also be doing a Wyatt family reunion as we welcome Eric Rowan, the man formerly known as Braun Strowman, and indeed the Fiend Bray Wyatt. Also just announced is the man, the legend, the icon, Sting. And of course, your Olympic gold medalist, Kurt Angle. This and many, many, many more guests, as well as prop builds, Q&As with all of the wrestlers, and some of the biggest wrestling collections in the world on display from our exhibitors. Get your tickets at forloveofwrestling.co.uk or search Facebook or Twitter for the Love of Wrestling. For the Love of Wrestling, Europe's biggest wrestling convention, returns to Liverpool the 23rd and the 24th of April.
Hey guys, it's Georgia Smith here, and you've heard me on A to the K. These guys are awesome. Check it out. A to the K.
A to the K.